Hello again and welcome. This is day 2 of Great Lent. Um, just finished some readings and some um, devotionals, and I thought I'd share another video. Um, I have the benefit of living in an area that has tons of parks around me. Um, and so on my lunch breaks, I usually just drive away from the corporate office and make my way to a park nearby. And what's great about it is there's so many parks that I can pretty much go to a new place every day, discover something new, see wildlife, and I just feel really blessed to be in that situation. I know not everybody has that kind of access to wildlife. I was listening to Jonathan Pishow a few months ago, and one of the videos I was listening to, he was talking about re-enchantment of the modern world, specifically that we've been disenchanted, right? And the meaning and connotations around that, how that applies to orthodoxy. It's really interesting. I found that when I really think about disenchantment in my life, it brings me back to my childhood, where everything in my childhood seemed really vibrant and mysterious and cool, right? Um, I aspired to do lots of things, had a lot of hobbies. And as I've grown, I've lost that, right? Um, I'm much more practical with my time, much more practical with the way I think. I don't have a lot of moments in my day where I'm deep in imagination. That was one of the things that uh, changed very quickly for me when I started going to Divine Liturgy, is that re-enchantment and things, all actions having meaning. I get up at 7. Oh, excuse me. I get up at 6 a.m. every day. I get about 7.5 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep. Make my way to work. About a 30-minute drive there and back. Get in about 7:30. Do a whole 8-hour day. Come back. A few hours to work out. A few hours to eat and spend time with my wife, and then we go to bed and I do it again the next day. And that's been my life for 5 years. And yeah, I make a little bit more money now than I did starting out, but nothing has really been very fruitful from that as far as moving my spirituality forward. In fact, I think it's done a lot more harm than good. Maybe that's not giving enough credit to struggle. I think it is important for us to be in kind of mundane activities. It helps us spend more time in prayer, at least for me. My dull moments at work, I try to um, spend that time in prayer, reciting my daily prayers, or free prayer. Um, I also have the benefit at my job where I can kind of go on walks. We have a walking track, and that's a big blessing. I love walking, so I'll go take that time, and instead of listening to music or watching a video or whatever, I usually spend that time reciting the Jesus prayer or praying for my loved ones, going over the things I'm thankful for, but also just really focusing on that burning sensation in my heart, and letting God know that it's kind of painful to be in the situation I'm in, to be in a job that is so boring and mundane. I feel like I could be doing a lot better things, a lot stronger things for the people around me, my community, things to be contributing to the kingdom of God, right? I think a lot of people feel like that. I don't think I'm unique in that sense. I think most Orthodox, not just Orthodox, but lay people feel that way. And I know a lot of people don't have the opportunity to really break out of that, which just makes me more thankful that at one point in my life I did kind of do a form of social work, and while it didn't pay very well, it was extremely meaningful. In a way, it was really like a dream job, and I had that very young in my career, very early on in my career. And I'm just so thankful that I had that exposure right away. Um, so I've kind of just been looking for that again, right? Um, I've had a lot of jobs, not really a job hopper by any means, but these last few years with the well, that big illness that went through the world caused a lot of upheaval that made me kind of bounce around a little bit. I think a lot of people felt that way or had experienced something like that. And so I've been blessed with the opportunity to work with a lot of different organizations and people along the way. So I'm only in my mid 20s, but I have a lot more experience working with corporate positions and high level of executives on the service level, administrative staff. I'm not high on the total poll at all. I just have had the opportunity to be in kind of servant leadership positions. And I get a lot of insight as to what those people's lives are and how they interact with each other on a daily basis. And I think it's really easy for most people to say there's the working class, right? Me and my wife and most people. And then there's the elitist, people making tons of money, CEOs, executives. And a lot of people like to divide that line and say there's nothing in common between those two, right? But then when you start talking to them in candid conversation, you have the opportunity to really get to know people, break down those barriers. There's not a lot of difference between most elitists and working class. There really isn't. Most of us have the same hobbies or same passions that lead to certain hobbies. What I'm getting at is we're all sinners, right? And that kind of binds us. We're all brothers and sisters. And so when I see somebody, in a great amount of shame over something they've done, or maybe they do something really just terrible, I almost feel, lately I've been trying to feel like internalizing that, to almost put myself in their shoes, to be more empathetic, I guess. And then it kind of brings me back to some saints that I recall reading about, like Saint Moses the Black. He had a terrible, before he found Christ and before he, started his mission. He was, a robber and was in gangs and did a lot of awful things, murdered a lot of people. And that really touches me because it tells me that I can't be much worse than that guy, right? And he's a saint. And there's other examples too. St. Moses the Black isn't the only one that's like that. And obviously we have our prophets and that have similar stories. And, Saul, of course, Paul. St. Paul. But we really like to put narratives around people, especially in the West. And if we break down those narratives and realize that there's not that much meaning behind the actions people take, and everybody's out here just trying to survive, right? And that what leads them a lot to their actions, right? Everybody's just trying to survive and find pleasure in the mundane moments, and that's what fuels the passions. That's why it's so important that we focus on re-enchanting our lives. It helps keep us binded to our devotions. And re-enchantment isn't just about an attitude. It's about everything. It's how we form stories, how we tell stories, how we build out neighborhoods, how we engage with the community, how we talk with friends, discuss our problems. Jonathan Pajau talks about that in great detail, and I really encourage you guys to go check out his YouTube channel and read, listen to his material. And he's got a lot of written material too. Has great resources. Yeah, just been focusing on how to re-enchant my life to be more connected to those devotions and the spiritual world, and how to be more calm, how to enjoy the little things like going out to these parks on my lunch break. And you should too. I'm not sure that it, really affects happiness all that greatly, but it makes it a lot easier to be joyful when I can just come out here and enjoy the wildlife, enjoy the wind. So that's all I got today. Probably post another video tomorrow. See you guys later.